everyone, my name is Justin. Welcome to the channel where sometimes I take a look at games, classic and modern, and kind of give our thoughts on how they appeal to different generations. Today, we're taking a look at Eiyuden Chronicle. A spiritual successor to the beloved Suikoden franchise, this game launched on Kickstarter way back in 2020 and just recently hit our hands. So now we have to decide, after all these years of anticipation, can this possibly live up to the hype? Well, let's find out. The story of Eiyuden follows a young member of the Watch, Noah, and his companions as they get caught up in a brutal war with the Empire. What starts off as a small-scale, light-hearted adventure and a short joint venture between the Empire and the Watch quickly turns into a full-scale war that sees Noah thrust into the role as leader of the newly formed alliance. We journey to various nations, each with their own culture, leaders, and colorful, credible characters, to bolster our ranks, help where we can, and find a way to stop Duke Aldrich's advances. The story is nothing new to anyone who's played a Suikoden game, and while it's not nearly as dark as previous games, it does move at a good pace and is interesting enough. The one drawback, however, is the way the game is structured. As a large part of the game consists of you running around recruiting people, it's entirely possible, in fact almost assured, that you'll have a major conflict brewing but spend hours running around doing mini-games, earning money at trading posts, checking every nook and cranny for a random recruitable person, or just doing anything but the main story. This gameplay loop is fun, and similar to those of us who have played the team's prior games, but it can cause the main story to feel a bit disjointed at times.
With a cast of 120 characters, it would take way too long to go into all of them. The game advertises the story being about the three main characters, so we'll discuss them and then give our favorites. Note that these will be our favorites and not necessarily the best characters. With a cast this large, you can usually use whoever you want, as they are all viable.
So first of all, we have Noah, leader of the Alliance and newest member of the Town Watch. He's a good kid, a self-professed meddler, he has a peppy disposition, and tries to see the best in everyone. He genuinely just wants to help. Noah accepts the burden of leadership and grows into the role despite questioning if he's the right person for the job. He's well written and is a great proof of concept for the old saying that the best leaders are often the ones that just don't want that power.
Next up we have Sane, a lieutenant in the Empire. We are introduced to him very early on as he's a part of our joint mission. He is friendly with Noah and briefly serves as our adversary before joining the cause. He's guided by a firm sense of justice, duty, and honor.
And then there's Marissa, my personal favorite of the three, and the one that I wish was the main character of the game, if I'm being honest. Marissa is the leader of the Guardians, a group that live in the woods and protect the rune barrels held within. She's strong, gutsy, determined, funny, and most importantly, flawed. The game allows her to fail. She needs to grow and learn to lean on her friends. She's really well written, and personally, I'm particularly fond of her voice acting.
My favorite character has to be Carrie. Before you find her, you have to run around on foot from place to place, but she gives you a really useful teleportation magic. Yay, fast travel! In combat, she has strong magic, and I like her attack runes like Take That, which helps break enemy armor, or Get Lost, which allows you to get out of a fight. The weakness, though, is that Get Lost takes 3 SP, and by the time you save up that much, the fight's pretty much over. I also really love her personality. When you ask her to teleport somewhere, she'll say, "I have literally never failed at this," even though we've all seen her fail. And then, when you arrive, she says, this is the right place. Yes. I just really like her quirky personality. And then there's Chandra. First of all, I'm going to point out that she's a giant dragon, which insanely jumps her up the coolness chart. Her heat breathing hitting all enemies is super strong, and to be an AoE skill that uses SP and not magic is really useful. Also, if you use Chandra during the theater show, it's absolutely hilarious.
So my personal favorite character has to be Francesca. Now, this isn't new to anyone who's read Twitter lately, but she's absolutely hilarious. She's the first healer you encounter, and she's a real Dr. Jekyll, Mrs. Hyde type personality and is prone to just screaming at people.
Stay the hell down! Oh, excuse me.
While it can be surprising at first, her little outbursts are hilarious. Beyond Francesca, I like a lot of the characters, but I want to give a shout out to Wave, a fellow guardian alongside Marissa. He's essentially her second in command. First of all, his design is awesome. He's strong in combat, but he also serves to humanize Marissa. He's frequently telling her to stay focused, helping her through tough times, and making sure she doesn't get herself killed. As a secondary character to Marissa's arc, he's really awesome. The graphics here are fantastic. It's old school Suikoden with some modern touches. The game has beautiful pixelated sprites and charming towns, but some areas, like the underground burrows, have really impressive reflections off the whetstones. It's a really attractive game to look at.
The character designs are really well detailed, from Chandra's scales to the dumbfounded look Carrie has, or Gar's expressiveness when he talks. The game does a great job showing the characters' personalities through the expressions, movements, and clothing designs. I also think the abilities look really cool. Spells like Crimson Nova just summons giant blazing fire to damage everyone. Noah's swinging slash, where he just goes nuts on an enemy. They're all really well detailed and look really cool. I think they did a great job with the sound effects. For example, spells like Water Needle, it sounds like the water's actually materializing, forming together to make a giant laser, and then bursting out to attack. The sound of Noah's hooks as he whacks away enemies, or the blaze when somebody uses a big fire spell, just sound really cool.
Agreed, son. They did a great job with the audio here. The battle themes are upbeat and furious and really get the blood pumping. The overall world music is serene and relaxing. The music in towns is unique to each region. Lots of woodwinds and light percussions. It has a very similar style to the old Suikoden games, which, again, the team does a wonderful job of harkening back to those classics. As I mentioned a few times already, Eiyuden, being a spiritual successor to the Suikoden franchise, stays very close to its roots. A turn-based JRPG with random encounters, you run around the map, do some puzzles here and there, recruit characters, and try to stop the evil empire. It's nothing new to anyone who's played a JRPG before, but what sets this and the Suikoden games apart are the three different forms of battles. You have your traditional turn-based battles where you select actions ranging from attacks, skills, magic, and items, to duels between the individuals, which are cinematic and have a real rock, paper, scissors element to them. And then you have the giant war battles, where your army moves out to engage with the Empire.
Dibs on the wars!
Okay. I'll start with the normal combat loop. Perhaps my favorite part of the battles is the hero combos, where 2 to 3 units will team up executing some big flashy combo attack. These require saving up SP to a certain point, but once unleashed, they are really cool. These do come with a drawback. The combat in Eiyuden, while fun, just feels really slow. In Suikoden, you would select your attacks, and the characters would all rush forward to attack, mostly at the same time. This led to a frenetic combat that moved at a brisk pace. Eiyuden, however, feels really slowed down in the combat. While the characters will use items while other characters attack, the attack patterns aren't as fast-paced, and the combo attacks slow it down even further. I feel like this is a sacrifice of good flow for cinematic value. This may not bother everyone, but it is noticeable for those of us who've experienced the inspiration.
The wars are a blast. You get to set up which commander has which groupings under them. Each commander has a legion abilities, so you need to pick up units that complement the commander. There's a 5x5 grid where you move your units around, picking where they move or if they move, the direction they face, and if they can use a legion command. Then you begin battle and watch the cinematic play out. It's cool seeing your characters pop up and to see the troops fighting.
One of the main draws to this game, though, is the recruitment. Eiyuden boasts 120 characters, some playable, some act as support, some just add things to your city. The vast majority of characters join you just because, but a few are locked behind a short quest, a battle, or a minigame. It's fun running around and seeing a character that looks different and then trying to figure out how to recruit them. There is a fortune teller recruit you can get that helps with this, but my big issue are those that are locked behind the minigames. The minigames in Eiyuden are, well, to say bare bones would be generous. The fishing minigame is literally just push one button. The other games aren't really explained super well, with the Begoma game, which is basically just Beyblades, mostly just depending on who has the stronger top. But the absolute worst has to be the stupid shark boat race. I acknowledge this may be a skill thing, but the controls on this are some of the absolute worst controls I've had the pleasure of playing ever. Minigames have been a big topic this year in JRPGs. Here I felt like most of them were just really bare and had you just sitting there watching. Perhaps my biggest annoyance is the inability to forfeit. Outside of the boat race, if you know you're losing, say a card game, you have to finish it. There's no surrender option. This results in a fair amount of frustrating and wasted game time. I really hope they can find a way to fine-tune these things in future games.
That sounds like an old guy problem. I agree they're very simplistic, but I thought they were really fun, especially the egg races and theater things. That aside, the castle building's awesome. As you recruit characters, you can spend resources you gather in the wild or through guild missions to upgrade your castle. This involves adding and expanding shops, upgrading castle exteriors, and even crafting objects like different trees and stuff. It's a simple but fun and rewarding element.
Eiyuden is a game that I've been waiting for years. Suikoden has always held a special place in my heart as one of my favorite franchises, and to see this game finally come to life just brings me immense joy. The unfortunate passing of Yoshitaka Murayama hangs heavy here, as I wish he could have been able to see just how much fun the fans are having and how much we are loving this game and all the hard work they put into it. Unfortunately, the game isn't perfect though. The highs are fantastic, but the lows fall off pretty hard.
I've never played the Suikoden games before, so this is my first introduction to this kind of RPG. I thought it was really fun. I wish the large units that take up 2 party slots had more of a benefit though. I really don't see much of the difference in the stats to justify using them over having 2 party members. I really love the castle element. It starts off old and dilapidated, but as you rebuild it, it becomes elegant and fancy. It's really cool that you can customize different elements of the castle. It means there's always something to differentiate my castle from yours. It allows people to put a personal touch on the style. So all that said, I'm going to give Eiyuden Chronicle an 8 out of 10. I really liked the game. It's fun, the customization's right up my alley, the cinematics are great, and when you're not in wars, the game has a peaceful vibe to it. I'd go higher, but there are some times where you have multiple boss battles in a row, and that can be stressful as you can't heal or save in between. The fact that every character can be good means there isn't a lot of incentive to use other units that aren't your favorites, which, while cool you get to use the good ones, it does make the other 110 or so characters kinda useless.
See, I'm really torn here. My heart wants to go 10 out of 10. I love the Suikoden games, and I've been anxiously waiting this game for years. But my head says I have to be honest and agree with you, son. I'm also going to go an 8 out of 10. The characters are great, but the game is billed as the 3 main characters, when in reality, it's Noah's show. The other 2 play a big role, but they take a backseat to our boy, which isn't a bad thing, as Noah's pretty great. I just wish they could have done more to make it fully about the 3 protagonists. Also, as I mentioned before, the minigames are dreadful. The combat speed is slow. The war battles, while the boy loved them, are probably my least favorite this team has put together in any of their games. I just found them uninteresting as a whole. I ultimately really enjoyed my time in Eiyuden and truly hope this team comes up with a great follow-up and can build off of the incredibly strong foundation they've already laid here.
So those are our thoughts on Eiyuden Chronicle. Was this a return to form for a legendary franchise, or was it not worth the wait? Whatever your thoughts, comment below and please support us with a like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks everyone!